Yeah, guys, I'm going to give this playlist another shot. Hopefully this doesn't give me any of those stupid strikes anymore. All right, let's see what's going on here. So, J-Bricks, the real Sega. Yeah, we're hanging out. We are working on. So I already did my recording for the Unit 2. So any of you guys that need to track the Unit 2 stuff or need any help with that, it's bugging me. This is the corner edge of that green screen. Anyways, we recorded that earlier, so you guys have that. It's up in the YouTubes and stuff like that, and you guys can get access to that if you want. Now we're switching gears a little bit, and I'm going to work on some Homelab stuff that I need to do to get ready for kind of like a ProLUG project. So I'm going to do this later, and later is a tag that we found yesterday in LogSec, and we're going to set this up as a bunch of notes. So this is kind of cool. You can just go later and then do whatever you need to. So in this case, I'm going to say rebuild the K8s prod env, right? And then we're going to say we're going to do a few of these, tasks. I'll just copy that too, so I can just keep doing it. What is my Homelab hardware? I have a whole bunch of hardware Horizon. We could look at it if we want. I probably should write that up and kind of show the hardware everywhere. But we're going to be doing Kubernetes in a 3-node cluster. There's the old node names. We're going to be rebuilding them, and then we're going to go from there. So you rebuild the K8s prod, and then we're going to harden the systems. And we're going to harden the so we're going to harden the Ubuntu. We're going to, hey, thanks for that. The real Sega gifting a sub over there to who is that? Pew Accountant. Hopefully that stuff's useful to them. And then we're going to go later. Xshunyum, I have no answer to what you're saying. Any cheap way to bypass CG NAT? I don't even know what that is. I don't know if that's like a specific type of NAT or a tool. I don't know what that is. So harden Kubernetes, and then we're going to run Kubernetes. So run Kubernetes in a sandbox, and that'll be a what the hell's the name of that sandbox tool? Let's call it sandbox for now. Sandbox runtime. So we'll harden the Ubuntu. We'll do deploy our system, or so deploy our primary page for ProLUG. And then one of the things we're going to have to do is point the DNS from AWS on ProLUG.org over to our K8s cluster. So these are things I've been meaning to do this. Carrier grade NAT. I've never used carrier grade NAT. You guys got to remember, I did a lot of networking early on in my career, and I kind of moved out of it, so I didn't stay in that space for super long. So, all right, let's start building out what this is going to look like. Then we're going to harden the systems. That'll be in, we're going to do that. Oh, and by the way, then you can hit when you're done with these, which I kind of like. And what else? I don't like that it shows the whole keyword like that. I wish they had a better way to like check. I wish they had a better way to do that as like a check mark. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Just want to say hi, thank you. Yeah, hopefully this stuff's useful. The real Sega, plus the Unit 2 stuff, now that it's recorded, we have 1 and 2 up there for people that want to participate in the course. I'm going to be closing the Unit 1 discussions probably later today. I think people can still comment on them, but the threads will not pop up for everybody else, so then our threads don't get unmanageable inside of the Discord for people, because I know people will have way too many things to look at, so I want to avoid that for everybody. this is kind of my plan for right now. So rebuild the K8s production environment, harden the systems, hardening the systems will be a multi-layer thing, and it's bugging me that I can't remember what the name of the G-visor. G-visor is going to be our sandbox runtime that we'll work on, and then we'll go there. So there's a couple reasons I'm building this K8s out again. One is we'll probably end up hosting some stuff on it that's going to be real useful stuff for people from the ProLUG. I'm probably going to end up writing some stuff myself, which I try to stay out of the web space, but it's probably gonna end up. I'm gonna write some stuff to get it done, and then we have one of our other guys who's kind of been helping the group out a lot, and he's gonna probably have some stuff to deploy and go. And one of the nice things will be, Scott the web dev, yeah. Do any of you guys remember when I had Ranger's birthday, just counting down to his birthday, and it was like the most all the way up time system you could have, but I did eventually crash that set of servers. In fact, I ripped them out because what happened was we had a power outage here, and this one of these, actually this one got rebuilt, this one, and he had some of those on there, so I just never bothered to rebuild them. So we're going to do it again, but we're going to rebuild them on this guy, and we do have an Ubuntu 2204 hardened template on there, so let's go ahead and just deploy one of these just for fun. Let's just do it. We'll do a quick create. We'll see what this looks like deployed, and then we'll figure out how much hardening we want to do to the box, because I know I hardened it at like my level of hardening, which is not anywhere near the benchmark hardening. So in fact, I think I have right here, is this the 2004? So I got a 20. So let's go get the I'll show you guys where you get the newer ones, and where you can get the Ubuntu hardening. So if I go to Stig documents from the government, you can download these, right? And let's go get 2204. So go here, Ubuntu, and we want 2204. So here's my Stigs. I'll just go ahead and download this one. And then it's fun when it's zipped, it can be zipped right in the folder, right? So I've got the folder right here, right? Zipped right in the folder, and I can open that zip right in my Stig viewer, which is kind of nice. So I don't need this canonical Ubuntu one. I don't need this checklist. Close without saving it. Let's import that new Stig, which is going to be in downloads, our newest one for today. And there's our 22. And there are 180 Stigs. The chat, I don't think I can drop. Hold on. You want the Stig here? You want this? So 2204, I mean, this is the link. If you want the link. There. I'll drop it over here on the YouTube side. Also, hello on the YouTube side to Sinjini. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. We're just doing system stuff right now. We're getting ready to go back to build mode in the environment. So here's my Stig information, and in there, if I were to go explore that, I should also have a whole bunch of, I don't want to show you guys those. Hold on, a bunch of these. I should be able to go in here and see that I have the manual Stig things, and then there's my JPEG. Okay, yeah, so I've got all this stuff in here for the Stigs. Let's see. Good. And then here it is popping up inside of here with 160 total rules that I can go fix, right? Yeah, well, the reason this is a finding, or the reason this is a problem, is because if a user, so I've actually had a bridge. So there was a ops bridge that we had at AAA, and one of our ops guys was pretty good at doing systems work. So we had given him access to certain systems, and he had the ability to sudo on certain boxes, and he didn't realize the focus of his window was inside of a Linux box, and he did a Control-Alt-Delete, and he booted a box like that. So we had a guy who he was pretty good at everything, but he was in a terminal, and he thought he was pressing Control-Alt-Delete on his Windows machine, because, you know, he was sitting at a Windows machine. He wanted to go to Task Manager or something. I don't know exactly what he was trying to do, but it captured it. He was actually in a VMware, like an ESXi VMware, whatever that viewer's called that they use, and it sent it to a server. So he killed a server. I think it was a dev server, and we didn't care that much, but it was enough for us to go, oop, we need to check this. And because you guys got to remember, dev servers sound like, oh, dev, fuck, do whatever you want in dev. But a dev server, to me, I can't just kick over dev servers in the middle of the day, even though I'm the Linux guy. Because if I kick over a dev server and you had 20 guys writing code on that, I just wasted probably hundreds of, well, maybe not hundreds, but over the course of a day, I might have wasted, you know, tens of hours of engineer time. And that's money, right? That's real money to the company that it's already sunk costs, so it's not like they pay any more, but you don't really want to pay engineers to do this. Twiddle their thumbs? That's a waste of time. Now, we do this a whole bunch as engineers, but you don't want to make us do this. You want us to do that when we're being lazy, not when the system is down, right? We don't want to give a user a system that's unstable. Yeah. So this is, well, it might not be console access. It might just be some of these are any login. This is any Control-Alt-Delete that gets captured in any way. Yeah, this guy was he had it open and he thought he was focused somewhere else. I remember when this happened because it came down pretty hard on the guy. He was a younger kid, like in his 20s, and we didn't give him too much of a hard time. We gave him a hard time, but like management didn't. But we changed it because we were like, oh, this could have gotten any of us. We had this trigger pointed at all of our servers, and that trigger could have at any time went off late at night or when we were working on servers. So he kind of served as like a, you know, canary for us. He took it bad, right? The canary doesn't always survive, but we were able to find out that there was you know, gas in the mine or whatever. And then some of these like Grub, I'm not going to worry about somebody booting something in my environment, but if somebody has access to your environment, that's a problem. Or if you have different consoles that they can access. But anyway, so I have this list, and I can think about how hard I want to make this server that I'm building. But I just blew up a server, and I just built it right here. So this Ubuntu template came up right here. And I can go see, like, how is this server set up? So I'm going to go root, and I think I know the password. I think so, in my environment. Maybe not. Sometimes it's Scott. Ah, there we go. Okay, now we're in. And then I can sudo as my user. Right? So my home user a lot of the times is Scott in my lab environment. And then Scott has permissions to become root. So that's fine. And let's see. Let's clear this up. IP adder. Let's look at this. And he does take a 218 address when he first comes up, which I hope is out of the way. Ping 192.168.11.218. And we're grep for 218 from Etsy hosts. So I do not want him to be taking that address in the future because obviously now we have an IP conflict in our system. So I need to get that off of there. So I'm going to CD to Etsy netplan vir90 installer, and I'm going to change his IP address for now to, he's going to be 215. Escape :WQ netplan apply, and then if I clear the screen and do IP adder, he should now be on 215. So now there's no longer a confliction between his IP address and Grafana 2. So my Grafana 2 connection was busted, right? Well, I would have had a hard time getting to it if I wanted to directly. All right, so now I got to think, is this system, let's see what type of hardening I did on this box to figure out if I want to reharden it and push it back down as my new template, or is it hard enough for what I want? So let's go ahead and do a system CTL status. Let's do this. SS-NTULP. Let's see what ports are open. This thing's not listening to nothing. So this thing's only listening to port 22 and port 53, and 53 is only local for his own system resolve. So this box, when it comes up, only does SSH. That's pretty okay. It's pretty good. All right. So the question here is, what's the difference between a hypervisor and a VM? Come on. It's a good question. It's a good question. I'm going to show you guys some virtualization stuff for a second. We're going to go quick. We're not going to like do a deep dive on this, but let's talk about virtualization. Why do we virtualize? What is it? What are the types of hypervisors, and how does that relate between a guest and a host, right? And then we'll talk a little bit about network stuff. I'm not going to do this like deep, but if you guys have a notepad, right? I always tell you guys, get a notepad out, write down anything I say that you don't know. Like if you're like, I don't know what overcommitment is. So we'll blast through this real quick, okay? We're not doing this though as like a deep. We're not going like. I'm not giving you the hour-long version of this. We'll just go quick. But because the specific question is about the relationship between hypervisors and VMs. So why do we virtualize, right? This is before I taught a college class about a year ago. What, does it have a date on here? I thought I had a date on this one. This is from like 20, maybe even 2022. And this was right before the class started. I did a Control-Alt-Delete and I took a screenshot of my laptop. This was my laptop, this one that I'm sitting on right now. So yeah, it was probably, yeah, right after I started streaming. So let's say 2022. And this is, if you look at this, and we take an average, this is 30 right here, this is 10 right here. I'd probably average this right under 20, let's say, if you took the peaks and the lows and the average, maybe like a little under 20 is our average across the board of CPU usage. So I want to say something that's going to sound like a platitude for a second. You're going to think like I'm sitting on top of a mountain, like going like this and like floating while I'm sitting in a lotus position or something, but I'm not. What I'm saying is I'm not saying something abstract. I'm saying something that's absolutely true. If this is about 20% utilized for each second, there is 80% wasted. And you say, well, what do you mean by that? What I mean is if you go look at your system at home and you do a task manager and you just look at the task manager while we're talking here, and you're like, I'm sitting at like 5% nice, and I say not nice, you're wasting 95% of what that system could be doing right now. It's gone forever. You can never get, it's gone, it's gone, it's gone. And I'm not saying that like in some philosophical way. I'm saying like in an engineering sense, we want to squeeze more out of this server. And this server was doing some stuff. I mean, this was my Homelab or my home desktop, but it had a bunch of browsers open. It had some stuff. I mean, it was being used, right? So where I'm going with this is the goal of virtualization is to squeeze more out of the system, right? So then I say, why do we virtualize and what is it? So this is my XCP-NG, and I've got my server sitting there, and I have multiple servers on, but I'm still barely utilizing any of these resources. And what's happening here is time division multiplexing to give access to the processor, and all of these systems are still only using that CPU probably under 30%. That's under 20% right there easily. Of just, I've got all this, I'm adding more and more servers on, but we're going to get to the hypervisor part in a second. And then over here, we're looking at my servers. I'm barely using RAM. I have plenty of RAM left over. I'm not using the memory or the disk. So why do we virtualize? And it kind of looks like this. This is from some cool little blog that I found about, have you ever heard like the professor stands up in front of the class and he puts a jar and he says, okay, is this jar full? And all the students say yes. And then he goes, well, but I could put all this gravel in it. And then he says, now is it full? And they go, yes. And then you go, I can't believe you fell for that a second time. And then I pour sand in there and we get it even more dense. And I say, now is it full? And they're like, yes, there's no more space. But then we pour coffee in there, right? Or water or whatever. And you're like, oh God, I can't believe how much space was still left in that jar, right? Well, the reason I bring that up is because we're trying to squeeze more out of the systems. So what happens with virtualization is in a traditional architecture, which you guys are probably watching me on a machine, is you've got some physical device, and then you put a host operating system on it, and then you run applications. But in a virtual architecture, and this is a type 2 hypervisor right here, we turn on the machine, we have a host like Windows 10, and we turn on a hypervisor inside of it. So this is you guys that run like Oracle VirtualBox or like VMware Desktop or whatever, and then you stand up virtual machines inside of there, and these are what's known as the virtual machine guests, and this is what's known as the host, right? But there's two ways that happens in the industry. This is a type 2 hypervisor. There's a type 1 hypervisor and a type 2 hypervisor. They both have reasons to still exist. I know people are like, well, these are the only ones we use in the industry, but that's not actually true. Let me explain for a second. The ones that I run in my Homelab are type 1 hypervisors. What that means is, at the bare metal layer, I put XCPNG on this device, and then this device serves out resources to all of its guests, right? It is bare metal, and then it is my hypervisor. That's a type 1 hypervisor. All the guests sit on top of it. It's highly efficient. It's very small footprint. It's much more secure than this other one because there's less area to attack. It's less overhead. It's what we use for deploying resources out in the enterprise. This is enterprise production level stuff right here. But what is this? This is, you've got a machine, you've got a laptop, and you want to spin up some type of hypervisor in your own machine to build your own little virtual machines. Type 2 hypervisors are less secure inherently because you're running an operating system and then the hypervisor. But where does this excel? This excels for devs. For dev engineers that want to build stuff quickly locally and they don't want to have to wait to provision it out in the production or in an environment from the company. This is very good for rapid deployment of things over here. So you'll see type 2 hypervisor. In fact, most of you guys that are devs here, you guys probably run a type 2 hypervisor locally, and you just run through and you build your stuff and you see your code execute and maybe even get down into the next layer of containerization where we run Docker images. And then when we're done, then we can work on productionalizing it. And the goal of moving things from a type 2 to a type 1 where we're running everything in the enterprise on this is that this is one of the reasons Kubernetes is so effective, is because Kubernetes will do this well, okay? Rizushi, I would say type 1 is for when we're ready to go to production workloads and we want to be highly efficient and we want to standardize our stuff through pipelines and scripts and interactions that are automated. This over here is when we're just running around like chickens with our heads cut off, and we're like any of you guys that have done any type of dev work, even as like a development engineer, you're like hacking away at stuff and just trying to get stuff running. And then once it gets running and stable, you're like, okay, good. Don't touch the system. Document everything, rebuild it once from scratch, see it all work. Okay, good, I'll toss this shit over the wall, right? And now you toss it to them and then they productionalize it. And part of that productionalization is where Kubernetes is so powerful, because Kubernetes really makes this easier. Case in point, if any of you guys have ever run like a Docker container on your local machine, you're like, okay, cool. I expose port 8080 to a container on port 80, cool. And then you go to stand up a second one to test, and you're like, oh, shoot, I'm using 8080. Oh, okay, I'll deploy this one as 8081, and it'll go internally to port 8080, so I didn't have to change my container code any, but my external on the hypervisor on my system had to go to 8081. And then you're like, well, okay, I need to deploy 5 of these. Shit, I got to write a script that's going to enumerate through 8080, 8081, 8082, and it's going to walk these so I get different port numbers out here, but all going to the same internal container. That's a hassle. I just described that for 5 nodes. Could you imagine doing that for a whole enterprise? That's what Kubernetes does with its software-defined networking. It handles all that for you. So, one of you guys writes some Go container for me that's going to run on port 80, and you're like, when I give this to you, make sure you point it to port 80. And I'm like, okay, buddy, that'll be in my definition of my Kubernetes file. But what does Kubernetes expose it on? I have no idea, and I don't care. Actually, it'll probably expose it on port 80 and then also going through too. But there's going to be a whole different software-defined network inside of my system where I have no idea where that port is. And then the service definition, if I use a service in front of it, that thing doesn't care either. It's going to point to whatever the pod is set for. So my point is, all that stuff to say that hypervisors are the hosts and all the VMs that exist are the guests. So that's the answer to that question from earlier. I just wanted to run through this, right? And then how they start up, and then we go into, and then containerization is even a further squeezing of more resources out, because within a container, I only have to give the binaries and the libraries that the app needs, so I'm even more lightweight. All right. Anyways, we're not going to, we're not doing that whole talk right now, but if any of you guys want that sometime, let me know. I go over that every month or two. I go over that again for you guys. All right, so hold on. Where was I at? I was building something. Hold on. I let myself get distracted. All right. So he's now 215. So we could actually go into him on 215 because I have the, so watch this. vi root.sh known hosts, and look for 215. And well, I don't need any of those. Those are old. Those are old systems. Oh wow, that's from a long time ago, guys. Prod K8s control, which is 215. And actually, we'll go ahead and get rid of 216 and 217 as well. I'm removing those keys because I'm building brand new machines, so it doesn't make any sense to have those in there. I'm just going to see those known host errors, so I'm just cleaning them all out now. So now if I go to SSH2, what do I call them? Prod. So if I just SSH to like prod K8s, I should just get right in there. Oh wait, it's still giving me an error. Why is it still giving me an error? Ah, so 215 is still there. So we'll go look on line 67 of that file. I can go like this, set number, and then GG. And I can just drop down page to 67, happens to be that line. Ah, there he is right there. Let's get rid of those ones. And then now I should just get right in, yes. Okay. Oh, I did not push the key yet. So the way I can fix that is, what is that password? Maybe, I thought it was that, but maybe I don't allow that to log in. I know what it is. So let's push our key to that box, but we're going to push our key as Scott, because that's the user I always used over there, was my Scott user. All right, so now I push the key, and then I'll become the Scott user. And then now I can sudo up to that password. Right, we're rooted on the box. So now we clear that up. Now, a couple things we need to do. Hostname, CTL, set hostname. And the hostname I want for this one is, what did I call that one earlier? Prod1. I should probably grab, this is a problem. Hold on. Clear grep dash prod etc host. Just grab this real quick. This is going to be our notes that we're going to need anyways, so I'll just go throw it over in my notepad so I don't have to keep looking for it. Just so I have them, right? And I come back over here, and his host name is going to be prod K8s1. What? Thought it was set host name. Ah. There we go. There we go. Okay, root at prod K8s1. Okay, so we got that all working. And then technically, once we have that up, we don't need this console anymore. We can leave that. And also, I can rename the name of the server here. So properties. And let's change him back to prod K8s-1. All right, good. So now he's got a name, prod K8s1, and then we're going to start building this out. Somebody wants to see Ranger? What's Ranger up to? That's Ranger. Somebody wants Ranger. Check. Ranger cam. Ranger's downstairs. It is only, how warm is it in Phoenix right now? It only got to 89 yesterday. It is 91 already in Phoenix, so it's a little warmer today than it got to yesterday. And Ranger is 73 degrees downstairs, so he is, that's Fahrenheit, so he's nice and comfortable. He's got his own little fireplace. He's probably a little sad because the wife hasn't been home for the last few days. She's been up in Utah with the grandbaby. So Ranger's down there just laying around, being old. Man, he's old. Like he's even having a hard time walking around now, which is kind of worrying me. But you know, that's Ranger for you. Wait, what did I just see? Mint, you said you can't run SE Linux on top of Proxmox? That's a problem. I mean, that's a problem if you're trying to do that, I guess. That's a problem. Cloud init VM to avoid that. Yeah. I guess that's a way to do it. Okay, so let's do something real quick. I'm okay with this machine. I think it's hardened enough for what I want. So let's go ahead and just deploy 2 more of these and turn them into our other nodes real quick. So I'm just going to come over here. I'm gonna move this to the left so I have the numbering over there that I want, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do 2 more quick creates. I don't need to do, crazy wild speed. Proxmox is Debian based to the app armor at the bottom. Yeah, that makes sense. I thought I read something the other day though that SE Linux was going to be more used, and that somebody had moved it towards. Maybe that was just like a port somebody had done to move it over to like a Debian-based system. I thought somebody had SE Linux running on Ubuntu though, which Ubuntu is Debian under the hood, right? Or Debian-based. All right, we're going to let this build 2 more, and then we're going to go through that little process real quick and deploy those. A little bit of one-off, never hurt anybody. Just to get the environment back up. I want to get our prod Kubernetes stuff back running, because then I'm going to do some of these other things. So what we're doing right now is rebuilding the Kubernetes prod system. And I'm going to say that hardening Ubuntu, I probably have a few more tasks to do on there, but for now, that's probably where I want it. So I'm okay with that. That'll be an iterative process. We'll keep working on that. But we're going to stand up the Kubernetes. So harden the systems. We have to, in here, we have to deploy Kubernetes. That has to happen. And then we'll work on hardening it a little bit. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Let's go check these nodes out, give them IP addresses, do all that stuff, what we need to do. So we got to go in as a Scott user once it comes up. Yeah, man, that's an interesting problem. I haven't tried that. I didn't know that Proxmox had that limitation. So now that's something that because a lot of government systems and a lot of people in general are moving off of VMware because of the huge cost and price change. So, I mean, not being able to go to like a Proxmox because you're changing the whole underlying hardening architecture is gonna be an interesting problem for certain people. So that'll be interesting to see how that works. Let's say this came. I don't know what XCP-ng is based on. Let's go look real quick. So in my Homelab, we can't jump directly to that box. So if I go SSH to 192.168. It's not in my host file anyways, any of my Proxmox servers. But let me go look. That's what it is under the hood. It's CentOS Ralph Fedora under the hood. So if you want to know the exact kernel, which really will tell you, 4.19. So it's not as old as 7. It's probably a little up around like 8 of Fedora. So XCP 8.0 is generally speaking around that, yeah. So, okay. So we'll go to this guy. Scott is my user. Come in there, sudo-i to become the root user, and then get in there as the root user. Whoops. And then vi etc net plan, etc net plan. This config, and we're going to change him off of 218. He's going to be 216. Escape :wq net plan apply, and then we're going to do hostname set hostname CTL. Set hostname to prod K8s-2, and then we'll go ahead and exit out of that box, and then we'll do this. Oh, and then we'll set his name here. He'll be prod K8s-2, and then we'll go do the same thing to this guy, Scott. Go into my user, sudo -i to become root. And then we will VI our etc net plan. By the way, you don't have to memorize. This is an important thing, and I know we're not doing the systems administration stuff right now, but a lot of the stuff I'm focused on is how you guys administer systems. You have to know the different systems you're on are all going to, within their archetypes, they're going to have different ways that you set up networking. So in Ubuntu, it's etc net plan, and then you go set it down in this weird YAML file. I think it's weird. I think this looks like shit. But in Red Hat systems, which I'm much more used to, it's etc sysconfig networking. You know, etc sysconfig network -scripts rather, and then it's your ifcfg files, right? And then those are the ones that we set. But even now, it's now moving over to this nmcli type stuff, which is I don't even know where those things go set files. But that's how a lot of things are. So it's like we have to slowly move as engineers over time. Like I started off in like RHEL. I think the first box I ever built was a RHEL 4 box. So like we've moved like slowly. And I always think of, you ever seen those little magnets that they set on a table and they've got like the sand next to them, but they're magnets and they're magnet sand, and like over like 30 seconds or 30, you know, whatever the time is, the sand will slowly go like that and move over the thing. That's how I feel about a lot of this engineering. We've got like Red Hat 7, 8, 9 here, and I'm still just slowly moving across them as like the magnet pulls me across to know more and more of this stuff. So anyways, I'm talking a lot, but all that to say, like, you'll get stuff like this in your career where you just gotta learn some stuff, right? Like I don't even like this file, but it's fine. You know, it is what it is. Net plan apply. That seems like a silly way to restart a service for networking. Whatever, it does it. Hostname CTL. We used to go set etc hostname. Now we do hostname CTL. Whatever, right? It's things change. K8s. We could sit around and yell at clouds like old 43-year-old engineers, or we can change and come in with our little skateboard and go, what's going on, fellow children or fellow kids, whatever he says in that, you know, the Steve Buscemi, and he's like 50 years old, and he's like, how's it going, fellow skaters, or whatever the hell he says, right? All right, so we exit out here, we got that, whatever, I don't care. Now, we come over here. We've got to fix those two things that we did here. We're going to do this to 2. And yes, and password, boom, and then we're going to do the same thing for 3, yes, boom, and then now with my keys in place, I should be able to do something like this. Let's do Ansible. Let's try it just like this. Let's go Ansible -- help, because I always forget how to do this one because I don't ever use it. I should have Ansible on here. And how do you do a different? There. Okay. So I'll say Ansible, and we'll just say prod K8s -1 comma prod K8s -2 comma and prod K8s -3 comma, and that should allow us to do it that way. And then we'll say let's see, -u Scott, and I don't know, K for a password, we do for uppercase, M shell -a uptime. Let's just see if we can hit uptime on all those boxes real quick. Password for them, Scott's password, and then another password, and then here. Yeah. All right, whatever. Let's grep. It's just cat etc host etc Ansible. I know I have them in there. Where do I have them though? All right, well, go fix it. Thought I had it in there. Let's call this prod. Let's call this prod K8s. There we go. Whoops. Or no, that's not gonna do it. Didn't mean to do that. prod K8s. Then we'll do prod K8s-1, YYPP, and then just R2, R3. That's good enough. Prod K8s. So we're going to do it. Oh. Well, that's dumb of me. Yeah, well, that's fine. We'll do it that way. I don't like the underscore, but fine, whatever. Let's see if it connects. Yeah, there we go. All right, that's they're all up. So I've got those back up in my environment. I've got control of them. I can be root on them if I need to, with multiple different ways. I don't need the console anymore. I do need to fix this name, though. I was testing you guys, and you failed. The test was, can you save me from myself? I'm just kidding. I don't care. Let's get out of here. We don't leave consoles logged in. Typically, it's a bad practice. Even if you're the only one that's ever going to be in them, don't leave your consoles logged in. It's a bad practice. Even if everybody's rooting the environment, I still wouldn't do it. Like just leave them sitting at a command prompt like this. So now, you know, anybody wants to get in, they better at least know the password. Now, bypassing all the other stuff to get here is its own problem. Meaning they got here, which is, you know, that's like they got all the way into the inside of the building. The most important things is don't let anybody in the building, right? But if they're going to get in and they're going to do what they want, then we'll do that. All right, so let's go look at we're going to look at, we got to deploy Kubernetes on these guys again. So we're going to go over to Kubernetes.io, deploy, and we're going to look at kubeadm, right? So rolling updates, all these other things. We need to, where's our install? Deployment, we don't want a deployment. So kubeadm install. That's what we want. We want to use a kubeadm to install the system. So kubeadm is a good tool. It says before you begin, make sure the systems are big enough. So 2 gigs of RAM and that. So I don't remember what's on these boxes. So I'm just going to do this nproc and free-m, and I'm just going to hit these boxes real quick and just see what they are. What's their number of processors in their RAM? I'm pretty sure they got enough space. So they're all 2 cores and 4 gigs of RAM. All right. So we're going to come over here and we will did I just close that? Are you kidding me? Was it Control-Shift-T to reopen? I don't know if you guys ever use that, but that'll reopen your old browser tab. It's all single plane Kubernetes. Okay, so we gotta set up for a container runtime, and then we've got to send tomorrow. What's the name of the song? The one I was just doing? Hold on real quick. It's funny, my sort and my other one are off. So I should be able to go look in this playlist and go backwards. Hold on real quick. Was it this one? Hold on. This song tomorrow right here? Yeah, here, I'll play it again for you. This is called, this is from Dark Fantasy Studio, and it's called Studio Breath. It might just be called Breath, but it's from Dark Fantasy Studio. And when I bought this sound bundle from Humble Bundle, there was a whole bunch of different ones. And this comes from Dark Fantasy Studio. And it's called Breath. Yep. Yeah, Exshunyum, I'm really not super happy with like the behavior between. Trust me, I'm not happy with that. Like, because I have the royalty-free rights to do it because I bought them from Humble Bundle and I have the little license, but they will sometimes just send me like a little, oh, you can't monetize this video because of that. And I'm like, first of all, I'm making like pennies for a video, so it shouldn't matter that much, but it's the principle of the thing. I spent, you know, $30 on Humble Bundle donating to a charity and giving these guys money. I shouldn't be getting fucking hammered with it's not that big. Exunium, it's not that big of a deal. What they do is they demonetize it, and then they give you an option to clip the music out, and it leaves the rest of the sound. So it's like, but even that pisses me off because it's a hassle. And why, if I've paid to use the music, should I not be able to do it? It's stupid. You know, I paid to use the music. I could put. I'm supposed to be able to put that music in video games and stuff if I was like, because it was like a Game Maker bundle of music or something. Mint, I haven't gotten that far. If you haven't noticed, I'm only doing like a week or two ahead. But we will be doing, okay, so for the course, we will be doing full-blown K8s. But we won't necessarily be installing it. We'll be doing the stuff on top of it. So, because remember, the system administration course is not an engineering course. It's not building new stuff like what we're doing now. The systems administrator course is going to be like... Yeah. The syllabus is set. Well, the syllabus is set in stone, but I haven't done the work. Yeah, the syllabus is set. Don't get me wrong. The topics are set, but what I'm actually doing that day, I'm running around the week before to make sure I have it all ready. So, yeah. If you don't know, that's pretty much how I operate on everything Mint. I tell people all the time, I don't know how I get anything done in general. But we will be doing K8s in a full. We'll be doing it inside of like a full environment. In the lab. So all right, so here's what we need to do. We need to install a container runtime, right? And here's the different container runtimes that we could install, and it says here's how you install a container runtime in container D. So if you need to go and do container D, it's going to be something like this. You're going to install container D, or you're going to install it from, you know, whatever you have. And I will go ahead and you can use apt or get, so you can go and actually figure it out from here. But I'm going to look back here. The official binaries. We can do run sc. That's the non-sandbox version, but we'll be using what the heck's it called? I got it right here in my notes. We'll be using gvisor as well, instead of just run sc as one of our containerized things for today. Don't need any of that. All right. Let's go back. We'll do it this way. We'll run it this way. So be able to. Hold on, let's go look. Hold on. I'm pretty sure. So we use apt-get to get container D packages. So let's go check on the Ubuntu one. Let's go see. All right. So let's install these packages on our systems. Uninstall all conflicting packages. We can just grab this. All right. So what we'll do here is we're going to do cube 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to SSH to was it prod K8s 1? Nope. We're going to do it as Scott at that. Right. SSH to prod Scott at prod K8 2. We'll jump over here. Three. Okay. There we go. So now we're in all the systems, right? Sudo -i. And in a one-off build, I'm fine doing this. All right, so let's deconflict, get rid of all these things that we don't need. And it says so we're going to let this remove anything that it doesn't need. All right, good. Now, we can install a bunch of different methods. Right here, it says that we can install it just like this with installing its apt registry or its repository. I'm fine with that. On all my systems. And then it says to install the latest Docker packages. So there we go. We don't really need the sudo, but we'll take it anyways. And we'll let this stuff build. What am I messing up here? Yeah, guys, by the way, like when you're doing administration, the underlying, whether it's K3s or K8s aren't that big of a deal. If you're building it, they're quite different, but if you're just administering the stuff on top of it and setting up stuff and checking what's there, it's the same kubectl command. So that's a minor thing. That's like I tell people all the time, don't get hung up on stuff that doesn't matter. The stuff that doesn't matter is so many things that don't matter to being able to actually do this. Oh, what is this? Yeah, we'll use the disk space. Good. All right. So many things don't matter. You know what? We're gonna do one more. We're gonna do one more lab over here. We're gonna clear this up, and we're gonna grab our Ansible command that we did earlier. So let me see if I Ansible prod. What was it? K8s, and then it was -u Scott -m shell -a uptime. Let's do this so we can hit anything that we have to hit all the time. Yeah, let's do that real quick. Okay. Well, xshunium, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing that happened yesterday with that shell thing. Like, you know, I said get into a shell, and somebody was like, "Does it have to be a?" And I'm like, "What the fuck is like? Get into a shell." I don't know. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I do understand, but I don't understand why people get in those loops. But I understand what's happening to people, but I don't understand why they get into those loops. All right, anyway, so we installed the latest version, so we did that. And then now we should be able to do this against all of those systems. Docker, right? So on all those boxes, we should be able to say Docker run hello world. And it should work on all those boxes real quick, right? Oh gosh. Decoker. You guys gotta stop me sometimes. Let's just see if this runs. What? Docker not found. Oh, did I not install? Hold on. I just installed that. Oh no, I didn't install. You guys gotta stop me. You guys gotta stop me. All I did was an update. I didn't do that part yet. Alright. Yes. Yes. I don't know why they don't have the yes built in there. But alright, we'll give it a few seconds to jump. And if you guys aren't seeing, I'm jumping between... That's not behind my head, is it? No, okay. That's jumping behind... I'm jumping between different screen sessions so that I can work on each node. And then I have one configuration, my ProLUG lab here, where I can hit all of them with like my check commands. So basically, like, did I miss any of them? Are they all working? Are they all doing what I expect? So these are taking a little while to install because they're downloading all that stuff. And then what I would expect is that this can then run and hit all of those and do the command that I'm doing. So if you're wondering like how I'm jumping in between the systems, that's all I'm doing right there. It's just jumping across the bottom. It's Control-A-N and Control-A-P if you care. Not everybody likes screen, you know, it's fine, it is what it is. So let's let that run. And then here in a second, we'll see if we can get that to go. And Techniques Unknown, how's it going? We're just kind of working on this stuff and not working too hard. We already recorded the session earlier for people that wanted to hang out and do that. People that are interested in doing Linux systems administration with us. That's all done and recorded. Yeah, that thing yesterday, man, I don't understand. All right, there we go. Let's see if it runs. On all the boxes, can we run? Permission denied. We're trying to do that. So, hold on. We can do -u shell. And we can give... you know what? We'll try the sudo. We'll try the sudo. Screw it. My user can do sudo, so we should be able to get sudo to work. Let's see if sudo works. Now, if sudo doesn't work without a key or without a password, then I got to go back to giving the -K, which is the password for this. Yeah. And then we can always do Docker images after that, and we'll see that that's there. And Docker PS will show us if anything's actively running. But for now, we're good on that. This thing's never going to come out. I don't know what's going on with that. We won't worry about that. It's probably because I'm not in there as an unexecuted. You know what? That's going to bug me. Let me try this. So now I want the become password. How am I becoming root? I bet this works right away now. Because now it can sudo. Super annoying. Your become method in Ansible defaults to sudo unless you tell it to do something else. Right? Alright, that's not going to go. We won't worry about that. We got to run, so we don't care. We don't need to upgrade. We're not going to do any of that stuff. I'm fine with all that. Alright, so we jump back here. We should be good with a runtime then, right? We've got a runtime on all the machines. And then we need to enable some of these pieces of this. So we can just run, the packet forwarding needs to be set up. And I can verify it. So I'll actually use this for verification. When we first run this, we won't see that value. Oops. Yeah, so it's set at 1, and it's already set, so we actually don't have to go set that, right? We can set the C group drivers. That's fine for now. We need a runtime, though. So we got the runtime with container D, but we need the... We're going to set that to run SC after we get run SC installed. So we get to install run SC as well still. So we might still need that. Let's go look at this. Don't need that, don't need that. Don't need that. Just that. Network stuff's good. I thought we had a... Install Cube ADM. All right, we've got that stuff. We've got this. Network adapter should be fine. Or network ports. That port should be down. That's fine. I could check that though on all of them. Right, there's another one of these things we can do. Make sure things are correct. I haven't built one of these out in a while. So make sure we can become root if we need to. Yeah, we expect that to be down. So you're checking to make sure that's not open, right? Yeah. That'll be once we install. We'll do version 30. That'll be fine. Yeah. I think we're fine with that. We got a container runtime. CRI. Yep, that's fine. We don't need to change any of that. Alright, so then we'll get down here and we'll install and set up kubectl on Linux. Should be as easy as this. Download the version and then get going. Validate the binary if we want to. Alright. And the release -L release stable text. Okay, so we got that, and we probably need to put that in the right location, so that's not going to be in the right location by default, so we're going to have to put that there. So all we did was download the kubelet binary, and we're going to want to install -o root g. All right. Alright, so we got kubectl there. That's good. We're going to need that when we get the cluster stood up. And we can check the version if we wanted to. Take our K off of there. We're not sudoing. Oh, why this is taking so long to connect. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so now we've got the kubectl 1.31 on all the boxes. That's good. We could also do it as an output YAML, which I'm interested in seeing what that looks like. Even though we're not going to put it anywhere. We're just going to look at what it looks like. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there's some information about how it was built, the versions and all that kind of stuff. And maybe I take that. Like if I were building this professionally, I would take this and go throw it in my notes, right? And then that would become part of my raw notes that then... I do prefer Notepad++ for this kind of stuff. A lot of times I'll just say raw kubectl note, and then I'll just keep pushing things down or working on them or whatever. I do prefer Notepad++ for that. That's what I do most of my professional stuff on. This is my home lab, so I really don't care too much. All right, what other things do we need in a Debian-based system? We need all of these things, it looks like. And then if we need the public signing key for Kubernetes, we could use that, but that's fine. We're going to trust that these things are there the way they should be. So jump over here, hit that, hit that, hit that. I realize there's a comment in the middle of that, but comments just get ignored at the command line, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. We can check real quick, ls-ld for etc apt keyrings. That directory already exists, so we don't have to do this step right here where you need to make it before. We could just do these 2 curls to download the GPG. There we go, boom. So now we have the repositories, and then we should be able to make that local. So we're going to make a local version of the Kubernetes.list. And this is, we're doing, hold on, 30 it looks like. Ooh. I'm fine with 30. Should still work. All right, and then we can update this. Although I suspect that that's going to try to downgrade it. Let's see. We're going to make sure they're all exactly the same, so whether it updated it or not, we're going to use it. And then install the other package. Oh, damn it. Don't want to be clicking on the wrong crap. With other package management, we're not doing that. That's fine. So kubectl should now be at least installed. And then we expect this not to give any output right here. So we do a kubectl, and then we say cluster info. We expect this to break right here. It should give us a, we don't have 6443 running. Yeah, we're not in a cluster yet. We're not doing that. We need to get there, but we're not there yet. Okay. If you want to, you could do that. Okay, we don't need any of that. And then there's some other bash stuff, but I'm not really worried about the auto completion crap. That's for, I don't mind typing out kubectl. All right, so we've got that going, and we come back here, and we should now be able to finish up our, got all that, and we should be able to install all of these on our boxes. Get our kubeadm up, because we're going to need kubeadm to build the next part. All right. Once we get that all built, one thing we can do here that we will need the -K for is going to be if we want to enable. So sudo systemctl enable now kubelet. Make sure those are all installing. Yep. Let them finish up real quick. I will pump, before we turn this all on and really start putting Kubernetes workloads on it, I'm going to bump these boxes up, because they should have, they're at 2 and 4, but in this node here, we've got the ability to give them a little more space, and then I'll probably close down this mini cube because I haven't been using it. Haven't been using that mini cube lab. Or shut down. So that'll give us a little more space, and then we'll probably just go back to using the full Kubernetes on here. What is that Rocky one right there? Did I just run a Rocky 8 for fun? Alright. Probably get rid of that one too, because I don't know why I even did that. Been a while. Okay. Turn on the kubelet. Ask for a password. We should see it start though, and turn on. So now kubelet will be running even though these systems are not part of any cluster yet. Also, system is going markedly slower than normal. So I'm kind of surprised. I don't know why Ansible's taking so long for any of this stuff. This is not normal behavior here. All right, well, we won't use it then. If we got a problem while we're building something, we just bypass it. Again, I don't know why that's not doing what I expect to, or what I expect to, but we'll just skip it for now. I don't know why that's not working, but okay. So now we got that going, and then Kubernetes have a property called C group, matching. So we don't have a running cluster yet, so we don't really need to drain and do all that stuff. But let's go look on one of these nodes. Let's hit Control C. Let's go look on one of these nodes. vi var lib kubelet config. It's weird. So it did fail. So I have to look into. So if in 122 or later, C group field defaults to systemd, which we're fine with. We should be fine with that. We're going to leave it as the default. We're going to init that. Oops. All right. We're in 130. Here it is running. I can see containerd running, but I don't see it exposing a port, which is not the way that's supposed to work. So we definitely have something to go try to figure out here. Containerd. Why is he not running? me see that. Container D looks like it's running. Alright, well, then, I guess we can, we don't need any of that crap. Don't need any of that crap. We do need to figure out why container D is not running. Just go back. We should be fine on that part. Why is container D and all that? All that. Did container runtimes, we did container D, and did this. We should be okay. Guess if that's the version we're going to use. It seems interesting that they would just say to do that, and then I guess they would assume that people know what that looks like. But oh, what directory am I in? Yeah, we should have space, I think. So wget dash, well, wget the file, and dash capital O, the name of the file, like this. So we just want the name here. So we're going to put it, and that's going to be our file on all of these. I just think that that's kind of a, you know, I don't know why they wouldn't just show the command. I mean, not everybody knows how to do wget, so it seems a little weird to me. xzvf, we'll add the C in there like they have. cxzvf user local, and then it's the container D. Let's make sure that that's going to do all the things that we need to. Okay. Built dynamically. I don't see how that's any different than what we had running, but okay. Let me come over here. We actually need to restart that. Hold on, that's not right. Because an enable now doesn't restart if it's already there. Okay. So now we got to go download this thing. The run.carch. Let's go get this guy. Sure. Show me where the run.carch is. for the architecture we need, which is, in this case, copy link. Seems way more of a hassle than this should be. All right. Seems again like so much of a hassle. Install. Fuckers. Alright, whatever. Networking. Amazing. Alright, we'll do Linux AMD. That looks good. AMD 64. It's amazing to me. Amazing. I mean, if this is the steps, then it just seems to me like you would just put these steps in there. I don't know. I'm fine with it. I just seems like you would put the steps in there for people. All right, this architecture, and then we'll make a directory and tar it. What version did we get? Oh, okay, yeah. What? What version do we have in here? Oh, there it is, yeah. You need the version. Yep. All right. You can submit PR to add the command. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's weird to me because, so technically, we didn't have any of these things here, right? But our containerd thinks it's running, but it's not sharing. It's not exposing the network ports like it should. So I'm not sure exactly why none of that's happening. That's a new thing to me as far as any of this goes. But we've done all that. We've done all that. We don't need to do that. High cuddle. It's fine. Start production. Container runtimes. We don't need a managed environment. We're down here. All right. Fine. Okay. So we got the networks. We've got this stuff set right. We know that. C groups. Oh, we're using system D, so we should be fine with that. Okay. etc container d config.toml. I'm not exactly sure what that file should look like. You would think that we would have one. Well, looks like we have that. Looks like all of those things are defaulted. Run on CRI, okay. I don't think we need to do those. I don't think we need cryo. We definitely need a networking plugin. Know that. But I'm still not sure why those ports aren't coming up like they should. But CNI. I typically use Calico's really easy to set up, and so is Flannel. I'll say Flannel on here. Probably just use Calico. I've been using Calico lately. So let's go do Calico. I think their install is pretty easy if I recall. Maybe if I recall. Where's their quick start? All that stuff. So follow those to install. And then to do a single host, then we would install Calico with this once we get it up. So we've got to create. You know what? That's the other thing is we got to do this. We could do it this way. All right, so we'll try the cube ADM. Oh, what happened there? Oh, my system fell. My whole thing fell down. Give me a second, guys. I forgot I was even sitting here streaming. I'm just like sitting here working through everything. Oh, everything fell down behind me. Sorry, guys. Shit, I forgot I was even streaming right there for a second. I'm going into like dreamland. All right. Give me a second. Falling asleep on stream. Falling asleep completely. Oh, what's going on with me? Oh, so hold on. So on K8s, we're going to do this. But we got to change this. So hold on. So we can't just... oh, no. We can't... What? These sons of bitches. We're not going to just copy that. We're going to give... Oh, no, that's fine for an internal pod network. Yeah, we could do that. That's fine. Let's see what happens here. All right. Swap is supported. We don't need swap. We need to go fix our runtime service. So our runtime v1 runtime service is not the right one for this. Yeah. Man, I was like, what the hell's even going on here? Like, I think I'm falling asleep sitting here. So that's telling us what we still need to do is we need to go fix our runtime, because what do we still have to set there? Sorry, guys. In our network. Hold on. We don't need any of that stuff. We don't need cryo. We're not running cryo. this at? Excuse me. We could use the CRI, as they mention here, and switch it over. I don't think we need to switch any of that, but we do need to update. Should be able to do this, and then if we add any other settings, and then this, but we don't need to do this exactly. I think those are just if you have any other settings in there for this, you know. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we're using C group version 2. All right. And then go fix this. It says to make sure that this is not in the disabled plugins list, so I'm going to remove that. System CTL daemon reload, and then you got to do system restart container D. Okay, that's better. Okay, so that's what we want. So over here, we're going to do those same commands. We'll VI our container D toml. Let's get this guy working. Actually, what we'll do, we'll cat that file. Right? And we're going to take all this. And actually, what's even easier, let's do it this way. This is even easier. We'll come back over here, right? Where are we at? I don't know why I'm doing stuff out of there. Temp. And let's go SCP from Scott at what do I call this? Prod K8 S-1. And what's that path? What's that path? This. So we'll copy that from there to here, grab it real quick, and then we'll SCP from here, the config.toml, to each node, but in the right place. What? Yeah, I guess that tracks. Permission to write it there. All right, that's fine. We'll just do it the other way, which was this way. We'll just cat it and we'll just VI the file and add what we need. So VI etc container. That's what we want. And then over here. Yeah, man, let's. First time I think I've ever daemon reload. So there's our restarts on everything. And we should be able to see Now they're working right. Okay, yeah, they're working like what we expect now. Yeah, that was a hassle. Change that status. All right, so, man, that was a big old mess, man. Um, I haven't done Kubernetes from scratch like that in a while, but I do remember every time I do this, it's just a fucking nightmare, man. It's like, you would think that it would just be an installer nowadays when we're all the way up. When we're making, did you guys see like the Kubernetes version 1.30 is like anime inspired or some kind of furry inspired? It's weird, man. I was looking at that going, who the hell let this past PR, or who let that past your public relations department? Not pull request, which is the other thing. All right, I think I need to stand up and walk around for a second, guys. I'm still working on this. Yeah, Ubu, yeah, Bernetti's or something. It was weird. I don't know how they got that past all that, but all right. So what we have now is we're pretty ready to do this Calico part. So we're gonna get the Calico part of the network stood up, I hope, and then we'll get the Kubernetes running. We'll get some test workloads running, and then I'm gonna install it back into my system the way it was, and then I'm gonna redirect some pages to it from out in the world. And we're going to, hopefully get a little basic web page up, because I just haven't been, I've been getting made fun of for a while for that because I don't have a little basic web page for us. Plus, some of our guys have built some other like stuff in Go and some cool stuff that we can kind of do. So here's what we're gonna do: we'll go on Ranger check. We'll go on our break. Whoops, go back to Ranger check. Also, there's the Stig stuff. We'll get back to Stigging here in a little bit. We're gonna get everything working, and then we'll work on locking it down. Let me put up my hourglass and walk for a minute. Take a quick break. Quick break. And then more lab stuff in K8s. All right, let's take a quick break, walk around, do whatever. I'll be back. I'm gonna go take a walk and clear my head a little bit. I don't know how I'm falling asleep on stream. Just doing Linux stuff. Man, guys, I can't believe I just fell asleep in my chair like an old dude. I mean, I am pretty old, but I mean, I can't believe I fell asleep like that. Jeez. I like typing as I fell asleep. Who knows? So, I'm okay with people using stuff as a learning resource, but I thought it was super weird that got past like somebody thought that was a good idea, like generally speaking. Very surprised. All right, you guys are still on break if you want it. I'm just kind of hanging out. Not working too hard today. Wife's coming home in a few hours. So I'll definitely hang out with her later. Ranger's having a lazy Sunday, but that's pretty regular for Ranger. All right. Sean over on YouTube, you can ask me whatever you want. We're still on break, by the way. I'm just working through stuff while we're sitting here. All right, so our system's coming up slow. Ansible modules. How can I get these peeps to wake up? So the question was, with Ansible, how do you get people to understand the importance of idempotency? They have a playbook where they upgrade the distro with a command and shell module as passive and user built in. So one of the things, and when I show people Ansible, I always show them this. The goal of using a tool of any type is to simplify things that we don't want to do ourselves. Like I've shown you guys before, I can go hit a whole list of servers with a shell command. I can just loop over a list of servers in a file. I can get that file from anywhere. I can pull it from an API. That kind of stuff's not hard to do, right? But the reason I don't do that anymore and the reason I use Ansible is this. Ansible has this massive amount of control around what it's looping on. But when people use shell commands, this is why you don't use shell commands. And he mentioned idempotency. The reason people don't use shell commands, or you're taught often not to use shell commands, is because Ansible loses control of its execution while it launches a shell command off. So Ansible's running along, it connects to a server, it launches a shell command, and it sits there until it gets a return code back from that process. During that time, Ansible can't timeout, it can't control, it can't check things, it can't do any of the things that a module can. It just launched a shell command off into the night. And I often say that it's like a captain walking down a ship with a little torch, and he's just lighting cannons and firing them off into the night. There's no way to undo that. And there's no way to do it again besides just hitting the button and launching it again. So I would tell them, maybe for me, I would back up and I would say, why do we use Ansible? It's so that we can control this thing, and we can control the output of a thing. And when you use shell commands, you can't control that, or you're giving up the ability to do that check and to bypass, because there's literally no thing else that you can do with a shell command except skip it for a variable reason or execute it. Those are the only two things you can do. And whether or not that shell command is idempotently written is now outside of Ansible, if that makes sense. So I would just probably tap the sign. If you guys remember the old Simpsons thing where he like taps the sign and he's like, "Don't make me tap the sign," and the bus driver just, and then the sign always says something like, "Ansible is in control, don't like lose," I don't know, something stupid like that. That would be my thoughts on it. All right, break's over. Let's set up our control plane. Then we're going to make this stuff. And we're going to install Calico. Then we'll happy dance. But first I'm going to keep eating. My wife left me a bunch of snacks when she left for the weekend, because she's been up in Utah hanging out with the grandbaby. And she left me these little vanilla wafers, which are pretty good. And yeah, I'm eating them in one bite, I know. Okay, Kubelet's not up. That's a problem. Why is Kubelet not starting? Let's go look. It wants to start, but it can't start. Oh, we got to turn off swap. Yeah, why is swap on this box? All right, let's undo that. I feel pretty all right with that. Got that. Where's my... 1 second here. Turn it off, swap. Swap shouldn't be on anyways. Okay. We gotta make sure it doesn't come back up. So. So Sean, I will tell you, for me, it's not a hard, fast rule that you never use the shell command. It's just you've got to know when you can and when you can't. So if you do any of my labs, you'll see I do use the shell command when I'm checking things, and I just want to verify something in a system. I will use shell commands to like just hit something, get it back, and then I write it like a Ginger template report out. But that being said, they have to know that's why they're doing it. If they're like using, I mean, unless it's like to just deploy an Oracle installer or something where you have to run the installer, there's no way that I would ever like kick off a script or something from Ansible. Like that wouldn't make any sense to me. Because yeah, every time you run it, every time you do something from then on out, it's going to go run that script again and possibly just break everything. So yeah, Sean, I would tell people they just need to think about like how they're doing their systems work. Like, I mean, are they doing it for administration? I think in a lot of administration stuff, like if you watch me do like little ad hoc commands, you know, I'm using shell commands all over the place because it's just ad hoc. But if I'm doing something like engineering and I'm going to have to deploy it, and then after I deploy it in prod, we're going to give it a different environment file and run it in like test and QA, and then what did I say? Oh, sorry, I deployed in dev, and then I go up through, and then I get to prod. If I do all that stuff, I don't expect thinking like that. I don't expect shit, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, I don't expect to use anything that's not idempotent in my system at that point. So it really depends on, I mean, I can't probably win that argument for you, but I would lay it out and say, look, this is why we use this tool, and every time we give up control for some other reason, we increase our chances of breaking something. And that would be my kind of main way of looking at it. But they do everything with shell. Yeah, mount, unarchived, move. Yeah, well, at that point, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like me kind of early on, because I did put Ansible right in the place of my loop, because I used to just write a for loop over all my file or all my servers, right? And that's the easiest way to do it. And then Ansible just kind of moves in place, and you're not doing it the Ansible way. You're just using Ansible in place of your for loop. In that case, you're probably just like, you just got to give them some hints like, hey, use Ansible doc to find more. Use the document. I love the documentation online for Ansible where, hey, why don't you figure out how to do it this way, and why don't you figure out how to do it that way, because then it's a little better. Yeah, but if they're just writing stuff like that, I mean that oh shit, that would be kind of mad. I'm getting stuff all over me. I'm trying to finish like the messiest food that I know of, which is called vanilla wafers. Or sugar wafers, rather. While on stream. And normally I have a rule I don't present and eat, but I'm just messing around today. See if our nodes came back up. Okay. There we go. Boom. All right. Oh yeah, Colchis. My wife gets these, and she gets these big bags of them, but then we share them. But she's not here to share them with me, so I'm like eating this whole. It was like a 3 stack of them. So. Okay. Kublet's running. Can't do anything yet, but it's running. So now we're going to try to start KubeADM, but we're going to make sure that we do a few more things. Pod network add-on, that's fine. So we'll apply that. That'll be over here. Trying to think if I need. That's fine. We'll do it like this. We don't really have anything special going on. So these all came up. So I don't know what they came up as. So let's let's reforce this. So let's so this thing made a bunch of things, but it did not do. So let's go with, see if there's a force. Let's see if this will start this time. So some things were already started, and that's why this system's a little more set up than the other ones. The C groups part should be right, and the IPv4 part should be right for sure. Pretty sure. These files already existing were just from the last setup. Let's see how this looks here. But Sindbleed, you're right. Yeah, I think we got the system D part set up with the C groups right. We just set the where's it at? We just set it to allow where do we set that? Yeah, we set it back, where's the app? That should all be fine. We did the C group part. Should be system D, and we made sure that it is not. Yeah, should be good, I think. We'll see. Although it's taking longer than I thought it would. This is worrying me a little. Yeah, the health is. Oh, let me make sure. Real quick. UFW. Okay, it's inactive. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. Make sure nothing's blocking that for no reason. Oh, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, that's my last one. Then I get these little crumble makers off my... These things make so many little crumbs. Oh, looks like our container runtime is jacked. Okay, so we gotta make sure that that's better. Let's go check here. It's right down at the bottom here. Nope, it was over here on the bottom. Good old eLisp. I need to make sure that our file that looks right. That all looks right, and whatever the defaults are. So I'm not using cryo. We could put cryo in there. But I wasn't using cryo. Systemd is a container runtime. We have all that stuff. Got this all set. We're using C group. We should be. Group driver system D. I have that right. We're using system D. Run SC. Do we need to install run SC separately? I feel like we put run SC on here, so that's there. So it should know. We did all this for container D. Don't need the Windows crap. We did all this. Did all that. Pretty sure we did all that. All right. Fuck is a SoCat? Some tool, what is that? Never even heard of SoCat. All my years of using this tool. What? Never even heard of SoCat, ever. I don't even know what that is. I didn't just delete it either. I just said I couldn't find SoCat. Let's see. That's real sus right there. Fun fact, if there's no dependencies, you don't need a -y. Isn't that kind of funny? You only need a dash Y if it's going to ask you a question about installing additional dependencies. So you don't, this will install on all these. That's super weird though. I've never seen that. Let's see. This can turn on Kubernetes or Oh no, I get it. I just never seen that tool before. I've been using Kubernetes for, well, about 4 years, I guess. I've never seen that. So took only half a second to be healthy. Let's see how long this API server takes to be healthy. This other thing, I'm also in here, so I can do when I see things on. Yeah, API server's not up yet. 80, okay. Six 443 215. I mean, barring anything else, can get out. Huh. Yeah, I don't know why the API server is not. Should be on 6443 and it's not coming up. First off, that is just, that's super annoying. So no pager is supposed to not let it go off screen. It's supposed to wrap it. I just want to grab it and throw it in a I want to see what these errors look like in a normal format that I can at least look at. So it's likely whatever's happening here. Oops. It's likely whatever's happening here is actually they did recommend that I set this. this is what they meant by all those other ones. Hold on. I think that's the... Where's that stupid thing at? It's gonna fail. Yeah. So I go here, I look at this guy. So they're saying I should have all this in here, which there's no C run. This is what I would think. Try that for now. Let's go up one more. Get rid of everything. Systemctl stop cube lit. Dead, right? Okay. Now let's give it a try. So those are all starting, no problem. But the API server should start on 6443. It doesn't look like it's happening again. Let's see. See what looks like in Kubernetes. Nope. That's not right. They installed SoCat. Look, they also did these two, which I did not do. Did the run SC, they did that. All the same things that I did. So CNI config failed. No network config found in etc CNI. So I'm fine with that. Holy shit, that's a lot of config. Interesting. Still unhelpful, but interesting. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Yeah, tomorrow I always get stuck on something little, but that's one of the reasons I try not to rebuild these too often. So I need to... I'll get this back working. I just need to figure out what I'm stuck on. I gotta find out when the wife's coming home too, because she's coming home soon. I don't know when her flight is. Alright. Missing anything here? Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. So, okay. Well, okay, I'll keep working on that. I'll document it better this time. I always say that and then I don't. But what we'll do is we'll get this back, and I'll probably be on. I'll be around later for people on Discord that want to hang out and work on stuff. But for the most part, I'll probably be done for today and just kind of hang out here in my office. My office still is getting warm, even though like summer's mostly over here in Phoenix. So some of you guys know the story on that, but we'll do an updated version of the HPC systems engineering here in the next few weeks as well. And still working on the Kubernetes. I got to give it some other thing. I got more stuff to do here, but we'll get to it. So we did rebuild. We didn't really do anything except harden the Ubuntu today. So we got more work to do on this. We'll get it going though. We'll get the notes going, and I'll figure out what it is. Tomorrow they're doing pretty good. I mean, in Phoenix, like with the summer, even with the solar panels up there, I'm still paying like almost $400 a month for keeping the house cool. But it would probably be closer to like $700 a month if I didn't have the panels. They're still saving like $300 a month, so it's pretty good. The thing about the solar panels is they were going to pay themselves off in, it was like 11 years and no, it was 10 years and 2 months, and we're about almost 4 years into having them. And they're doing pretty good. They're on track to pay themselves off. Me and the wife bought them, you know, flat out, and then let it pay itself off over time. So that was kind of the goal. So, all right. Well then, let's go find somebody to raid. I know today wasn't super exciting, but we do have the recorded version of the sysadmin course for people that wanted to do that. Let's go find somebody to raid. There's got to be somebody on right now doing fun stuff out in the world. Who's out there? Oh, we'll go raid our practical NPC, and then we'll go play some video game. I'll go play some. He's got a little bot or a little game that he's built in his chat, which is kind of funny. So we'll go raid over there. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'll get this stuff working, and then I'll document what I did, and I'll send it up to you guys on the DevOps. But I got some cool stuff coming once I get that going. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you. Let's go get our raid on.